Erik ten Hag has had a pretty successful start to life at Manchester United. I think you could argue that 3/4 of the signings that he has made, in Casemiro, Eriksen and Martinez, have been unmitigated successes that couldn't have actually gone 1% better than they have done. And I think the jury is out on what's probably going to be a good signing in Anthony, but the money involved and the inconsistent performances have probably took that into more of a uncertain sort of transfer than the raging success that the others have been. On the field, Manchester United look like they're in control. They look like a team with an identity. And we are putting in consistent performances which have seen us rise up the league. And we've put together, in the last 15 games, a run which is literally title-winning form. Unfortunately for us, the results at the start of the season mean that this is probably not going to be a title run for Manchester United this year. It's more likely that we are going to end up in the top 4. And here's the 3 reasons why I think that's going to happen. Number 1, Erik ten Hag himself. One of the first things that Ten Hag did when he came to the club was instill a discipline and command respect. This is a man who walked in and went, I'm the boss. And I'm definitely the boss because watch this, I'm moving the dugouts around. All of the players had to buy into what Ten Hag was selling. And the respect for him probably went up even further when, in August, Ten Hag himself ran 14k with the players after the 4-0 defeat to Brentford. He shouldered the same sort of responsibility for the heavy defeat along with the players. In October, we saw Cristiano Ronaldo throw his toys out the pram and storm down the tunnel when he was an unused substitute against Tottenham. Ronaldo was told, you ain't training with the first team anymore ahead of the trip to Chelsea, and he wouldn't be involved in the squad. No one gets special treatment. The New Year's Eve clash against Wolves, an in-form Marcus Rashford was dropped for an internal discipline reason, which Rashford revealed in a post-match press conference because he overslept. Rashford was a substitute, came on at half-time, was impactful and scored the winner. And we've seen it in training. We've seen him barking instructions at players. I think there's probably a bit much been made out of that. But even things going all the way back to the start of the season, you have a young superstar in Garnacho, a potential superstar in Garnacho, who's in a precarious position with his contract. And he's late for a team meeting. And Ten Hag tells him, you're not going to feature at all on the tour after being late for a team meeting. And does Garnacho kick off? Does he throw his toys out the pram? He continues to work. He knuckles down. He changes his ways. That's been evident with some of the things that the players have said about him. And he now finds himself getting goals and assists on a regular basis in the first team. And it's this sort of consistency and performance that he's been able to drag out. We have lost once in the last 16 matches. Since the 6-3 defeat in the derby, we've got 13 wins, 2 draws and just the 1 loss. League and cup performances have been strong. We are 4th in the league with a game in hand on the team in 3rd. We find ourselves in the quarterfinals of the League Cup, the progression to the knockouts of the Europa League, despite becoming runners-up in the group. We've got 4 clean sheets in the last 4 matches. The level of performance so early in his reign is admirable. And he's showing it with the depth that he has created within the squad. Most United fans will have looked at that team and that squad and gone, there's so much deadwood here, it just needs to go. You've got to get rid of it. We started the other night against Bournemouth with an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer defence. Wan-Bissaka right back, Luke Shaw left back, Maguire and Lindelof. A defence, that defence in front of David De Gea, by the way, that conceded the most amount of goals a Manchester United team has conceded in one season. Got a clean sheet, performed well. You're seeing Wan-Bissaka look like he knows how to play football again. Luke Shaw has played 2 matches where he's probably been man of the match. He's in the last 2 games. You've seen him performing well at centre-half. You've seen Malacia come and get involved. You're seeing Varane and Martinez rested and rotated while Lindelof and Maguire play. You've seen Dalot being given an extended break following the World Cup. All of a sudden, the weakest area of Manchester United's side looks like it's got strength. In midfield, Casemiro has been an absolute inspirational signing. Honestly, for those who didn't watch Roy Keane, it's very hard to explain what he does. He's not dribbling past people. He's not hitting 40-yard shots. He's not smashing people constantly, which is the sort of impression people get about Roy Keane. Yes, he was robust, but his basics is what made Roy Keane as good as he was. And I see the same traits without the shoutiness in Casemiro. I see a player that just makes the right decision 99 times out of 100. I watch him play, and when I'm watching players play, I sometimes will question, what did you do that for? That didn't make sense. Why have you done that? Casemiro just makes the right decision, and he knows when to take a risk and when to just keep it chill, when to just make the 5-yard pass and then offer again to receive. Oh, someone's behind me a little bit, are they? I'm just going to bounce it straight back to you, and then I'm going to move. Every single thing he does it relaxed. He does it calm. I don't even know if he's ran yet since he's joined the club. Everything he does seems to be walking pace. But he's been absolutely world class. And Christian Eriksen, I was wrong. I thought Christian Eriksen was probably going to come in and be a third wheel somewhere. Maybe give Bruno the night off, maybe give Casemiro the night off, but certainly not play alongside both of them week in, week out. And he's coming, he's got the second most assists in the league. There's only Kevin De Bruyne feeding that big freak cyborg thing that's got more. I said once McTominay and Fred become backups for Manchester United, the squad is in a good place, and it's happened. Donny van der Beek's not quite rounded out, having a full midfield on the bench ready to go. But you've seen the likes of Zidane Iqbal on little cameos. I think you might see the likes of Charlie Savage and that coming in on little cameos as well, if they don't go out on loan, which I kind of expect they will do. And all of a sudden, another area where we were pulling our hair out looking at Fred and McTominay week in, week out, McFred, suddenly looks like a strong area of the pitch. Bruno has been in patchy form, I think it's safe to say, but it's been largely good. You've now got a midfield three very capable of winning and controlling games. I could argue it needs a little bit more snap and a little bit more bite, and maybe something a little different for the matches against like Manchester City and the like. But there's depth there. Up front, yes, we rely on Anthony Martial, and we've been depleted there, and you've arguably lost 3 forwards in the last 12 months. Mason Greenwood, Cristiano Ronaldo, Edison Cavani. And Anthony Martial, we don't know if he's got the consistency to play week in, week out at a high level, or if he can even remain injury-free at a high level consistently week in, week out. It's the one area of the pitch Manchester United need to focus on. I mean, we didn't even mention goalkeeper, but we've got 3. More than we've got in strikers. On the wings, you have Garnacho, who is a legitimate option. Marcus Rashford has demonstrated he can play on both flanks. Jadon Sancho, the man management we're seeing from Ten Hag is going to bring him back, I think, and see him as a much better player. You have got Anthony Martial, who I think if he's relegated to the McTominay, Fred kind of role of being a backup striker, maybe starts 20, 25 games a season, gives the main guy a night off, gives him some competition, comes off the bench. I think you've got a really good player there. I just don't think he can do it as the main number 9. And you've got Anthony, and you've got Alanga, and you've got options in the wide areas. It's just that number 9 where you really need it. And finally, I think Marcus Rashford. This is a player that so many fans were quick to write off and jump all over. Manchester United's top scorer, back to his best. Actually been relatively inspiring, I would say. In 17 Premier League appearances, he's got 7 goals and 3 assists. In the Europa League, he's got 3 goals, 1 assist in 4 appearances. In the League Cup, he's got 2 appearances and 2 goals. That's 12 goals, 4 assists in 23 games for a player that predominantly plays as a wide player, and for someone who started the season coming out of the funk of the bad form that he's been in. Most of those goals are weighted to the last 5 or 6 weeks, and you include his England form in that as well. This is a player who is bang in form. Banging form. Marcus Rashford, back to his best, like Casemiro said the other day, can be one of the best players in the world. We as Manchester United fans sometimes don't appreciate what we've got in front of us. And he's had a horrendous 18 months. But like I said as he was going through it, any player that plays through a broken back gets a second chance for me. And Marcus Rashford's showing why some players deserve that second chance. And actually Luke Shaw is. Luke Shaw I'd written off, didn't think he had it in him. And Luke Shaw is playing at a level that's absolutely ridiculous at the moment. Like I said, Marcus Rashford, if we can find someone that he can play with up front, and Anthony can rediscover his form, or Jadon Sancho can show us why we paid £75 million for him, then the attack will join the defence and midfield, and actually even the goalkeeper, in showing why Manchester United are doing bits this season. Liverpool have fell off. I think they'll come strong again. They've got too much firepower. They'll score goals. Even if they believe they're soft in the middle, they've still got 7 first-choice midfielders to choose from. Some of them that have been absolutely wanked off into oblivion. Chelsea are spending too much money to not be in and around the mixer. And Spurs, with Son and Kane up front, will always compete, especially with Conte as well. For Manchester United to maintain top 4, particularly if we do not sign a striker, is going to be tough, but it'll be achievable. And I think we will achieve it. And like I said at the top of the show, I think City and Arsenal are secure inside the top 4. And I think the other 2 places will be United and Newcastle, for all the reasons that I've just mentioned. Things are progressing nicely. I don't want to see anyone talking about a title challenge just yet. I think that's ludicrous. We have to finish inside the top 4, and we have to have another window like the window we just had. If we do that, and we put together the sort of run that we've just seen in the last 15, 16 games, if we can continue that for the rest of this season, finish strong, next season you never know what could happen. But this year, we're finishing in the top 4.